Look out into the dark, and you will find that every structure in the cosmos is locked in a relentless, inescapable rotation. Yet, deep within the dust of the early universe, astronomers have discovered an ancient stellar city completely devoid of spin. What invisible force is powerful enough to extinguish the physical momentum of an entire galaxy? To understand how momentum can die, we must first understand why it governs this dark corridor. As a sprawling cloud of dust and gas collapses to form a star, it must conserve its physical motion. Think of a spinning ice skater tucking her arms close to her body. Because the momentum has a shorter physical distance to travel, she spins faster to compensate. The cosmos operates on this exact mathematical law, but on a crushing scale. As matter descends into the deepest gravity wells, it accelerates, driven by a rotational force that refuses to stop. At the edge of a rotating black hole, this rotation becomes so extreme that it grips the very fabric of reality. Physics calls this boundary the Ergosphere, a localized region where gravity forces space itself to rotate. Imagine standing on a moving walkway at a quiet airport. Even if you stand perfectly still, the system carries your body forward because the physical ground beneath you is moving. Around a dense singularity, spacetime is the moving ground. It twists so violently that a physical object would need to travel faster than the absolute speed limit of light just to stand still. The universe demands rotation, and it enforces this law with absolute authority. Even empty space cannot resist the pull of a twisting gravitational engine. Frame dragging is only the entry point to a mechanics that becomes far stranger the deeper we go. Subscribe and turn on notifications to follow this rabbit hole all the way down. This unforgiving authority creates a profound physical paradox. If matter must spin faster the closer it gets to the center, it eventually hits an unbreakable roadblock: the absolute speed limit of light. Because the infalling material cannot violate the laws of physics to spin any faster, it cannot fall any further into the abyss. It becomes trapped in a holding pattern just outside the unseen boundary. This rotational bottleneck creates a devastating friction. Millions of degrees of heat radiate outward as atomic structures violently crash into one another at relativistic speeds. Think of a heavy machine slamming its brakes on a highway, converting its forward motion into burning heat and smoke. The accretion disk surrounding a gravity well does the exact same thing, melting solid matter down into a glowing, electrified plasma. Yet, to survive this bottleneck, the system must find a way to shed its excess momentum. It achieves this by drawing up charged particles and firing them out into the deep vacuum. The spinning disk generates intense magnetic fields, functioning like the rifling inside a metal barrel. These fields channel the superheated material away from the crushing gravity, driving it across this freezing expanse. Through this process, the universe vents its excess spin, allowing the remaining material to finally cross the boundary. Momentum is not destroyed here, it is merely weaponized and relocated. But this relentless rotation does not just superheat solid matter. It fractures the foundation of empty space itself. As near as can be seen, the vacuum between stars appears vacant. Yet, physics reveals that this stillness is an illusion. The space between is filled with quantum fields constantly resonating. By the laws of uncertainty, paired particles continuously pop into existence, immediately crashing back together and vanishing. Think of a tightly wound guitar string that has not yet been strummed. It holds tension, waiting for a catalyst. Imagine taking two conductive metal plates and placing them so close together that only certain sizes of virtual particles can emerge between them. The external pressure physically pushes the plates together. Around a rotating singularity, the curvature of space creates a similar boundary, dampening certain resonances while violently amplifying others. When a singularity begins to rotate, dragging space-time along with it, that quantum string is struck. The rotation moves the physical ground so rapidly that when these delicate particle pairs emerge, they are instantly torn apart. One falls into the crushing deep, while the other is thrown outward. The rotation of the singularity literally forces the empty vacuum to bleed energy. It is an environment so extreme that it alters the fundamental mathematics of reality. Yet, even this quantum shredding is not enough to drain the twisting engine. The singularity is still spinning, and the excess energy must go somewhere. If the system cannot bleed its momentum into the vacuum, it must hurl it across the void. These magnetic ejections forge the largest single structures ever observed. Astronomers mapping the radio sky recently uncovered an ejection plume spanning over 16 million light-years in length. This creates a physical architecture larger than the distance between our own galaxy and our nearest neighbors. The host galaxy at the center of this system is merely a tiny anchor for these sprawling, glowing lobes of dispersed plasma. They stand as a physical monument to the sheer volume of rotational energy that had to be expelled. Imagine a single, narrow chimney producing a steady plume of smoke that eventually covers an entire continent. That is the crushing scale of these intergalactic jets. They reach out and interact with the cosmic web itself, heating the thin gas that stretches between galactic filaments. The cosmos never destroys angular momentum. It merely transfers the energy, violently expelling it into the abyss to maintain the delicate balance of the local system. The mathematics of rotation dominate every corner of reality. From the birth of delicate stars to the relativistic exhaust of dying systems, momentum dictates the architecture of this lightless corridor, which makes the profound stillness of our early universe anomaly entirely impossible to accept. If the cosmos goes to such extreme lengths to preserve and transfer spin, where did the momentum go? The universe conserves angular momentum at all costs, eventually forging structures that dwarf galaxies. Knowing this, we must return to our initial mystery. Deep in the cosmic past, a vast stellar city sits quietly in the abyss, entirely devoid of rotation. The stars inside this system do not orbit in a flattened, predictable disk. They swarm chaotically, slipping past one another like a cloud of heavy dust trapped inside an invisible sphere. For years, this dead zone of momentum defied every known model of cosmic evolution. But the stillness of this galaxy is not a failure of physics. It is the fossilized wreckage of an astronomically improbable event. This system did not naturally forget how to spin. It is the direct aftermath of a perfectly balanced, head-on collision between two sprawling, rotating galaxies spinning in exact opposition. Imagine two heavy spinning tops sliding across a smooth table and striking each other with perfectly mirrored speed and weight. Instead of bouncing apart, their opposing rotational energies instantly cancel each other out, dropping them dead in their tracks. the universe did not break the fundamental law of angular momentum. It mathematically annihilated it. A single, devastating strike erased billions of solar masses of raw momentum, leaving behind a mute, non-rotating ghost. What remains in this freezing expanse is a quiet monument to cosmic equilibrium. It stands as a remnant from an extinct reality, frozen in the serene aftermath of a perfect mathematical cancellation. This still structure does not just sit in the abyss. It stands as quiet proof that even the most violent equations in the universe can resolve into silence. The cosmos is an unforgiving theater of violent mechanics defined by crushing gravity, blistering friction, and relentless rotation. It is an environment that builds structures stretching across millions of light years, executing extreme mechanical forces to balance its own equations. But in this one isolated corner of this frozen ocean, the unforgiving machinery of the universe has been brought to a profound and beautiful halt. We are small, temporary wanderers observing the eternal laws of nature. We stand at the edge of a lightless expanse, humbled and electrified by a vast galaxy, suspended forever in a dead zone of profound stillness.